Okay, red stop broadcast is now red. Okay, welcome everybody to our, good morning again, Terry. How are you? Fine. Okay, this is December 7th, 2015, and this is our Google Apps class. This week we're going to be doing Google Drive. Good morning, good to see you. We're going to be doing Google Drive this week, and we're waiting for California to come on. While we're doing that, we'll talk about stuff. So just to review, why do we review? Matt, do you remember from this morning, why do we review?
It infiltrates the lesson into our brain.
Yeah, because our brains are designed to forget 70%. So this is an actual fact. Our brains are designed to forget 70% of what we learned today if we don't review it within 24 hours. Okay, we just have so many things coming in to our senses. And on its own, our brain doesn't know what should I remember, what should I not. So when you get older, a lot of people say, I can't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning, right? Well, because your brain has gotten in the habit of, you don't need to remember. When you're a little kid, do you need to remember what you have for breakfast? No. Well, you sort of do, right? Because little kids always talk about, well, what did you have? I had this new cereal. And so for little kids, it's important. When you're in school, it's important what you had for breakfast because everybody's running around telling you it's important to have a good breakfast this morning. So when you get up, you're thinking, is this a good breakfast? Am I having a good breakfast for today? Or your mother's yelling at you because you're having, too much sugar on your cereal or whatever it is. So that's why we used to remember what we had for breakfast. But most people don't remember what they had for breakfast, and that's a good thing. That's not a sign of, oh, I'm getting old, I don't remember. That would be like saying, in order to drive a car, you have to drive it. In order to drive a car, you have to drive it like you did the very first day you were driving. And do we need to do that? Nope. Do we need to be hyper vigilant? How much do I turn? How hard do I push on the gas? No. The natural state for the brain is to go on autopilot for things that are remembered, that are put into our connectome, and that we train ourselves to do. Typing is an example of that. Are you supposed to think about where is the A key? No. In fact, when you get good, I don't know what number it's at, but when you get to a certain point, you don't think of letters, you think of words. You don't think of A-P-P-L-E, you just think of apple. Because you can't type that fast if you have to think of every letter. So the good thing for our brains is to know what is important to remember it, commit it to memory, commit it to creating a subroutine, like a little computer program that just does that. So in the morning when you say, okay, I need to brush my teeth, you don't have to think about what do I need to do to brush my teeth, right? You're thinking about something else. You're brushing your teeth while you're thinking about the bus ride or something, right? Or what other morons or whatever other people are doing around you, right? Okay, so we don't need to know that. So, but our brain doesn't know what to remember unless we tell it this is what we need to remember. And so that's why we repeat a lot of the stuff we do. Good morning in California.
Good morning. Good morning.
How is everyone there today?
Hi, how are you? We're super, we're great.
Doing well. Good, super, that you're super.
Must be cold up there.
Huh?
Must be kind of chilly up there. You have a jacket on today.
Yeah, well, it's kind of crazy. When we come in the morning, it's freezing. But then when in certain parts, it's burning. It's really hot. So we can't figure out how to control the thermostat here. But it's cold outside, right? I think it's 43.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a dry cold. So, okay. So our job as a school is to prepare people for financial security through stable and meaningful employment. And I know that in California, you have that poster up on your wall too, right, Dennis?
Yes, we do.
And that is the function of schools like ours. It's not about education, it's about employment. And it's not just about employment, it's about employment that is something that's stable and meaningful. And our focus, what we teach people here, is to do 4 types of jobs that every business needs. So get your books. Let's go to a white page, a clean page in our composition books, and we'll put it that business structure. All businesses are about 80% the same. In the late 80s, early 90s, IBM hired a guy to be the CEO named Lou Gerstner. And he was the CEO of another company before he was the CEO of IBM. And IBM was the largest computer company in the world at that time. And what do you think the guy did before he became CEO of IBM?
Worked for another computer company.
Okay, that's what most people thought. He was the CEO of RJR Nabisco, making crackers. Nabisco crackers?
Right.
Yeah. And they said to him, what do you think you know? Why do you think you can be the president of IBM, the most advanced computer company in the world at that time? And he said, 80% of all businesses are the same. It's just that 20% that's operations. So all businesses have 4 parts: admin, administration. They have sales and marketing, operations. Thank you, Dennis. Operations and finance. Okay, finance is not accounting. I was a finance major in school. Accounting is, where did the money come from? How do we keep track of the money? How do we count? How do we account for the counting? It's about rules so that people can agree on how money should be classified. QuickBooks is about classifying different types of money. Is it income? Is it an expense? Is it an asset? What is it? Finance is, what is money? And where do we get money to run our business? If we're in the pizza business and we need to have another pizza oven, where do we get the money for the pizza oven? Do we go to a bank and borrow it? Do we take it out of our profits? Do we go sell stock in our company? Bring in partners? What do we do? So finance. Now, we don't do anything with finance. Even though that's my undergraduate degree, was in finance. We don't do anything with finance. And we don't do anything with operations. So operations is the business you're in. So Laretha, if we have a pizza business, what's the business we're in?
Sales and marketing?
No. If we're in the pizza business, what is the business that we're in?
Making pizzas.
Making pizzas. Okay, making pizzas. Okay, we don't teach people how to make pizzas or fences or cars or anything. We don't teach people operations. We don't teach people how to clean carpets. We don't teach them how to do construction. We don't teach people the operations part. There are some schools that do. Truck driving school. If you're a truck driving company, what do?
Drive trucks.
You drive trucks and you take people's packages or stuff from here to there. We don't do that. We don't teach that, but there are schools. If you want to work if you're a company called Massage Envy, what do?
Massage.
You massage people, and there are schools that teach people how to do that. Okay, if you draw blood, what's that called? Phlebotomy. Okay, there are schools that teach you how to do that. We don't do that. Okay, we don't do finance and we don't do operations. So we teach people things that are in the administrative part of a business in sales and marketing. So we teach admin, and we teach accounting. Our accounting is QuickBooks. And QuickBooks accounting isn't just doing financial statements, but it could be doing accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, audit, or it could be inventory clerks. There's a lot of stuff in accounting, and customer service. So we teach admin, accounting, sales and marketing, customer service. Why? Because every business out there that's for profit, every business has people in admin, accounting, sales and marketing, and customer service. Does every business have phlebotomists? No. No. Does every business have massage people? No. No. Okay. Businesses are somewhat unique on their operations, but they're not unique in terms of these functions. And so Lou Gerstner could go from being the CEO of RJR Nabisco to being the CEO of IBM because he knew these things, and he mainly knew money. This is the most important one right here, money. But you can't teach it in a school like this. It's not. But so Lou Gerstner could say 80% of all businesses are the same because they all have sales and marketing. And the main belief of people is nothing happens until something is sold. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
In a business. Yeah, nothing happens until there's a sale.
Right.
The sales people are very important. Now, a lot of people do it the wrong way. They think if you build it, they will come. And they go out of business.
Right.
Okay? Customer service, vital. And I put it over on this side. A lot of people put customer service on the admin side. But at GE, they teach their customer service people, if somebody calls with a complaint, when you solve that complaint, now you have an opportunity to sell them something because now they're happy. So customer service people at GE are salespeople. Their thing is solve this guy's problem because then he's going to be a customer. If you don't solve his problem, what's he going to do with everybody he knows?
Tell them about
Badmouth the company, right? If you solve his problem, what's he going to do?
Speak good of the company.
Exactly. So they say, no, customer service is not here. It's not an administrative function. It's a sales function. Because once we solve that person's problem, they become a customer. Again, they'll buy something. Waitresses should be here. Most people think of them here. They don't sell. But if you ever go in to be a waiter or waitress, what you need to understand is customers are impressionable. People go to work because they have to. People go to a restaurant because they want to. Okay, they want to have service, and if there's something that they should do, they're susceptible to doing that. So, for example, when I did some work for Coors, they said, try this experiment as a waiter at lunchtime. Go up to the table and you say to people, would you like to order a drink, something to drink before your meal? Can I bring you something to drink? You don't want them to say what?
What do you have?
You don't want them to say water,
Yeah.
okay, because water's free. Okay, you want them to say something that they are willing to pay for. Okay, so can I bring you something? And when you say that, then and it's lunchtime, so people aren't really going to be drinking alcohol at lunch. So you say,
Gonna start you off with a soda or a Red Bull. Or
so
something
you say,
outside.
how about a root beer float? We've got great root beer floats. So this is an experiment, Coors is saying. Do this as an experiment. When's the last time you had a root beer float? How about a root beer float? We make great root beer floats. You got to mix it up. You say something like that. What often will happen is if one person says yes, somebody else is going to say yes too.
Dessert, the same thing. Exactly.
Same thing with dessert, okay? So waiters should be considered customer service sales, not somebody delivering food to the table and taking orders. And it's the same thing if you're working at 7-Eleven or Jack in the Box and you're working at a counter, you should say, I'm in customer service, not I'm a waiter. I'm in customer service. Well, what do? Well, I sell people food, or I, sell them gasoline or whatever. And for real salespeople, they distinguish between sales and order taking. Okay? Most people are order takers. When you go up at 7-Eleven or you go up at Jack in the Box and you order something, is that person a salesman?
Well, he's
Usually,
just bringing up whatever
Yeah.
you want. He's not on commission.
they're an
It doesn't
order
do him any
taker.
good.
They're an order taker. And in their short-term thinking, it doesn't do them any good. They're an order taker. Salespeople say selling starts after the person says no. Before that, you're just an order taker. So you walk up to the counter at 7-Eleven or Jack in the Box and you say, I want a jumbo jack. And the person says, okay, well, do you want anything else? That's an order taker. How about some fries? How about some curly fries with that? Would you like to upsize it? That's still order taking. When the person says no, if you come back with something, well, how about the seasoned fries thing? Or would you rather have seasoned fries or curly fries? That person is a salesperson. And I had an experience of that this week. I got a new cell phone this week from T-Mobile. And as soon as I got the phone, and T-Mobile has an offer you can't refuse. 0 down, good phones. As soon as I got that, he said, okay, let's go look over here at the cases. I always buy my case on Amazon. Let's go look at the cases. And I felt like I just couldn't say no. Felt like I'd be a schmuck. Or like I'd be cheap.
But the salesman's on commission, right?
He's getting commission. But the people who think they're not getting commission, that's short-term thinking, which is okay. But really, if you have long-term thinking, if you're the guy, if you're the person, let's say nobody's on commission, but your sales are more, what's going to happen with you?
Well, you're going to move up a little bit.
You're going to move up because you're going to be that guy. You're going to be the guy who makes things happen. You're the guy who's just not saying, what can you do for me?
Right.
You're the guy who's saying, what can I do for you? I respect that we're here to make money. I'm going to help you make money. Because I believe if I help you make money, you're going to do something for me. In France, we used to have an office in Paris. In France, the way it works is not like here at all. Here it's dog eat dog. In France, if you're a guy who has talent, other people who don't have talent want to be on your team. They're going to push you up the ladder because they know you're going to pull them along with you because you need those people. Not like here. Here it's, I got mine, too bad for you. Yeah, I'm kicking you down. Get off my legs.
Yeah.
Right? In France, it's totally different. And it works. So here at this school, we teach people to do things that all businesses need. Now, in California, there's the medical part, where we teach people skills that you have to work in a doctor's office. Medical, what are they, Dennis? Medical what?
Medical, MCP, medical claims,
Medical claims processing, medical terminology,
right, billing.
okay, billing. Okay, we teach that there. Now, do all businesses need medical claims processing? No, but all businesses in the medical business do. And being on the medical side of getting a job is very good because people aren't going to stop getting sick. Okay, there's always going to be a demand for that. So what we do in California is very good on that, from that perspective. But all businesses are 80% the same, and you should have that written down. All businesses 80% the same. And you should have this diagram here in your book. Because when you're in your interview, you are selling them on who? On you. And if you say, when he says, well, why should we hire you? Something to that effect, why should we hire you? What's the first thing out of your mouth, Marty?
I know it's not.
No.
Make money, say.
Make money, say, I'm the guy who's going to make you more money than anyone else. You have to have the balls to say that. And you have to say it as if you believe it. You can't say, I'm the guy who's going to make you more money than anyone else. Okay? You have to be assertive when you say it, because they want to believe you. So how are you going to make me more money than anyone else, Marty? Now you can throw it in. Yeah. Yeah, you have your soft skill stuff. I'm a hard worker. I don't quit. All of that stuff. But ultimately, it gets to, I have skills that you need. You want to get to the cloud. And I can help you get there. And I can assure you, nobody else who's applying for these positions knows the cloud like I do. So, this class is about the cloud. In 4 hours, we can only do a broad overview of the cloud. So we have 8 cloud apps. So now, for Matt and anybody else who's new, go to a page called Google, create a page called Google Cloud, or Google Apps, I mean. Everybody needs to have this, and this is a thing you need to remember. Okay, you need to know this. If you go into an interview and say, in answer to the question, why do you think you're qualified for this job? And your answer is because I can type and because I know Office. That's not enough. You're going to be competing with people who've been doing that for 10 years. You pull out your certificate that says, here, I just learned to type. Their answer is going to be, so what? Okay, good. I'm good. I'm glad you're now up to 19 words. You'll be at 35. I'm glad you're up to that. But Betty is at 65 words. What do you know? Why should we hire you just on that? Nothing, right? Well, here's my word certificate. Okay, good. I'm glad. Great. Good work. You just went through school. I'm very proud of you. You finished. You got your certificate. You know Word. But Betty's been doing Word for 10 years. Why should I hire you over Betty?
I gotta have something more.
You got to have something more. So it goes back to what we talked about last week and the week before of the beer companies at the turn of the century that used to deliver beer on a horse-drawn cart. Okay? So all beer companies did that. And who was an important guy at the beer company that delivered beer on a horse-drawn wagon? Who was a very important guy at that company? Matt.
The driver of the, what do you mean? Who's important?
Yeah,
Bush.
Who's an important guy at that beer distributor that delivers beer in horse-drawn wagons?
The one who's actually doing the delivery.
Okay. The guy who's steering the horses?
No, the guy who's serving the people the beer.
Okay. Well, he's important, but he's only important if the horses get there, right?
So the guy who's driving the horses is the most important guy?
Well, he's a very important guy. But who's more important than the guy who gets to the work and says, okay, is my horse ready to go?
The guy who raises the horses?
The guy who takes care of the horses, right? He's extremely important for that beer delivery guy, right? Because if the horses are sick, what are they not going to do?
They're not going to be able to drive the
They're not going to deliver beer. Okay? Now, then all of a sudden, there's these things that come out that are gasoline-powered wagons, not horse-powered wagons, gasoline. And the guy that owns the beer company is convinced by the salesman, you're going to be able to deliver more beer, and your customers are going to think you really have something good going because you now have this new technology. Who's not important anymore?
The guy who has anything to do with the horses.
Exactly. Who's very important?
Yeah, knows how to drive.
Yeah, the guy who just graduated from motor school, the guy who just became a mechanic. He's now very important Did he have any value the week before?
He didn't exist the week before.
He did, but the job didn't.
The skill.
Yeah, he was going to school. So the cloud is that same thing. It's going from horse-drawn to gasoline. And businesses might not think, just in the beginning, not every business said, I want to be the first to have a horse-drawn wagon. A lot of people, a gasoline-powered wagon. A lot of companies said, they're too unreliable, too expensive, they can't afford it. They had all these excuses. But guess what ultimately happened?
They got one.
They got one or they went broke. They got gone. So all businesses are going to be on the cloud. It's that important. We have an opportunity to be the people that get hired if we know the cloud. Here in 4 hours, we can only do an introduction. You can't master it, but you need to use it every day. So last week we did what? Calendar. So everybody, when you come in first thing in the morning, you should be working on your calendar. You should be thinking about calendars. You should be reviewing calendars. How do I share a calendar? How do I collaborate? How do I add people to events, etc.? And this week it's Drive. But when you're in your interview, what is important is you need to persuade them that you know what the cloud is. So, what is one of the Google apps, Mike?
Google Plus.
Okay, Google Plus. So these are the 8 apps that we learned. And so you should draw this diagram on in your book. Okay. Laritha, huh? Calendar, good. Okay. Deanna? Gmail. Okay. Terry, do you remember one? Looks like Terry's sleeping. Are you sleeping? Okay. You need coffee, right? Phyllis? Okay. So, Marty? No.
No.
Huh? Voice. You're supposed to know these things. Marty is my go-to guy. Now, once you have these 4, then we draw another X. And Ariana, do you remember one? You have one written down in your book? Do you have a Google app? We got that. You got another one? Maps, good. Excellent. Maps. Jesus. YouTube. Okay, Drive. And what's the last one? Close. Chrome, right, Chrome. And we put a box around Chrome because it's not really an app, it's a program. Okay, so these you have to have committed to memory. So like today, this morning, after the TED Talk, I was saying some things you just need to know. Like your birthday, like your social security. These 8 apps you need to know because when you get into an interview and you have the person interested, and you know they're interested, if they ask you a question about the cloud, oh, what is the cloud? If they ask you that question, they're interested. If your answer is, it's too late, it's over. If the answers should start with, for example, or my favorite, or one I think that would be the most important here is, and then you have one because you're prepared, you practice, you rehearse for the interview. Okay, so these are the 8 apps, so you should have that. But the other thing about Google that's important is what? And these apps.
They're all interactive.
Yeah.
They're collaborative, right? So we want to draw a thing that ultimately looks like a spider web, where every app is connected to every other app. And when you're in the app, you can do things to get to other maps. For example, if you're in Calendar, can we do something in Drive? Yeah. Yeah, how? We attach a file, right? If we're in Gmail, can we do something with Maps? Yeah. Or in our calendar, we can do something with Maps. Yeah. Okay, with Google Plus, here's where Marty said communities, because there are also sub-apps. Communities, what else? Circles, good. And Hangouts, right. And what are the sub-apps in Drive? Forms, docs, spreadsheets. Those are the ones we deal with. Those are sub-apps. They're apps, but we call them sub-apps because you get to them through the app. So why do we use the Google Cloud? Why don't we use Microsoft Cloud?
It's free.
One reason is it's free. Microsoft is not free.
They update frequently.
They update frequently, and they're small updates so they're easy to digest, as opposed to Windows 10 is a big update that looks completely different than Windows 7. So it's free. It's always updated. The updates are small. Another thing is Google was designed as an internet company. Microsoft was not. So the fundamental thing of Microsoft is computer software. Micro is short for what? Well, what is in the name Microsoft? What did it mean? What was the micro part? Microcomputer. Okay, so at that time, microcomputers were new, also known as a personal computer, because what was common then, what did most businesses have when microcomputers?
Gigantic.
Well, they had mini computers. You ever heard of mini computers?
TRS-80.
No, that's a microcomputer. A PDP-11 was one. So most businesses had a mini computer that was the size of a refrigerator or two. Wasn't designed to go on your desk. Big companies had mainframe computers, okay, big computers. So Microsoft was microcomputer software.
Designed for business now.
Correct. Originally designed for business, not for home. But it was, so Microsoft is microcomputer software. Their whole start, their philosophy, their purpose for being was to create software for microcomputers. Where do microcomputers sit? Generally.
On the desk.
On a desk. Okay? Not for the internet age. There was no internet when, and the thing that there wasn't really the internet when Microsoft was started. It's not like we know today. It's something very, very different than it is today. So Google is a company that is completely built on and committed to the internet and the cloud. So when they design something, their frame of reference is it has to work on the internet. And it's also collaborative. So you can do things, you can be in one thing and you can do other things inside of that thing. Microsoft, when they started, computers were not able to do that. So they just are not like Google. Okay, so Drive. So now you should go to a blank page in your book called Drive. And call it Drive. Okay, what are the main functions of Drive? What's the main function? I'll give you a hint. The name Drive should give you an idea.
It's a place to store what documents.
Exactly. So Drive is virtual storage. What does that mean? Hey, Seuss, what would you say virtual storage means? Okay, how about storage? What is that? Yeah, where you keep it, right? It's a place that things are kept. Virtual would mean what?
Non-tangible, not real. Something that you don't touch.
It's not in a specific place, right? It could be here, it could be there. It's actual storage, but it's not like it's stored here. So Drive, the number one thing was virtual storage. You don't need to keep your files on your computer, on your, where? Computer on your what?
Desktop.
On your desktop. You don't need to do that. What was the problem people were having? What was the problem that they saw?
Or a different area.
Yeah, you go home and you work on it, then you go to work. Oh, that's on my computer at home. What was the first thing that was invented to help solve that problem?
Floppy disks.
Okay, floppy disks, and then ultimately what?
The drives.
No, that came later. The next thing was,
Little flash drives.
okay, no, that was later. There was this thing called a laptop computer. So instead of taking your files, we'll shrink the computer down
All you need to carry it with you.
and take it with you. So wherever you go, your computer's there. You don't have to have a separate computer that's configured with the same programs that you have at home. We have a solution for you. Your laptop. And then they went to other ways to store files, thumb drives, flash drives, other kinds of things like that. But the problem still existed because let's say you put it on a thumb drive and you leave the thumb drive at home,
Or you lose it.
or somebody steals it, or you drop it and oops, the car ran over, or the dog ate it, or whatever. Problems with it, and security problems for work because they don't want people to have business files on a little thing that could get lost, right? So the solution was we're going to store all your files on a place called a server farm, a business that just has rows and rows and rows of computers. And then when the internet got fast enough, then it was, you could have some stuff here, some stuff over there. We don't have your computer, it's virtual. All we have to do is keep track of it by your email account, your whatever. We just keep track of your stuff, and it could be in a lot of different places, and we have backups, etc. So Google created this thing for virtual storage. And what could you put on your virtual storage? What kind of things?
Documents, pictures,
Okay,
videos.
documents, pics, what? Videos. Okay, how about PDF files? Yeah, PDF. You could put anything that was an electronic file, anything that could be stored on your computer, you could save to this virtual storage. So that was pretty cool. So now you can have your computer at home and your computer at work and your data, I'll do it this way, home, work, and then you have the cloud, right? So you can send data here and access it at work. And on this machine was your program, right? Your Word file. You created a Word file, you saved it on your drive, you got to work, and you run your program, and you import the file, and you work on the file. But then the geniuses at Google said, well, why should we have to do it that way? Why don't we come out with programs, apps? Why don't we come out with programs so you don't need to have a computer that has Word on it in order to deal with your files? We're just going to include it up here on the cloud. So we're going to have storage, and we're going to have programs, docs, sheets, forms. Those are all going to be on the cloud too. So now, all you need to do is have access to a computer. Could I use my cell phone?
Sure.
And work on a document? Yeah. I don't even need to have a computer. Could I do it with the tablet? Yeah. Okay, because Google put these programs in the cloud also. Docs, sheets, forms, and there's one called, what is it, presentations or something. And then Google said what? Okay, we're going to let you store files. We're going to give you programs so you can work on those files. And because it's for a mobile purpose, right? Anywhere where you go, as long as you have internet access to the internet, you've got your stuff. They said, let's make it collaborative. So if you're going to create a contract, instead of having your attorney write the contract, and how do you get it from your attorney? Or the other side. Let's say it's not your attorney. Let's say it's the other side. Okay?
You'll have to go through your lawyer to get it, right? I mean, you have to get the physical copy delivered one way or another.
Okay, so what's the typical way?
Fax,
No,
delivery system.
email now. Email, and then you print it. It's a lot more efficient than a fax, because when you get a fax, how do you change the fax?
You gotta agree to the fax.
Well, no, how do you change the, you don't agree with what that one paragraph
Well, you have
said.
to fax something back.
Okay, but how do you do that? Because you have a,
Oh,
okay.
white out? Really?
Scratch it out because you're dealing with a piece of paper. Faxing is not the way to go
It's not
now.
virtual, you need virtual.
Okay, so now if you're gonna enter in a contract with somebody, now they email you the contract, right? So it used to be, typically the way it is you get an email. There's a file attached, a Word file attached. You download the Word file, right? And then what? You open Word, and then you do what? You open the file.
Read it.
Then you work on it, right? And then you do what?
Send it back.
You then send it back. Okay, that's how it's done today. How it's going to be done in the future is a guy says, let's get this contract put together. What's a good time for you? So he's at his office. You're at your office. No, well, you can if you want, but you're both looking at the same document
At the same time.
When he types, you see it on your screen. Now, if you have a headset and you're using Google Voice, you can be talking back and forth. If you have a camera, you don't need a headset. You can just be talking back and forth and you can see each other. If you don't have a camera and if you don't have a headset, how do you communicate?
Through text.
Yeah, so there's a thing on there called chat on this file. So you could be, what? You know, you could be typing, what does that mean? And go back and forth. Or you can comment on certain parts. There's another part called comment, which we're going to do this week. So the key thing, though, ultimately got down to it's collaborative. And in the future, people that say, I'm going to email you the document, you check it and send it back to me, that's going to be like, wow, that's just way too stupid. That's just way too much work. When can we both do it together? Because what also happens when you do something together?
less disagreements over wording or
Mistrust. He's trying to sneak something in. These guys are always going to try to screw me. You got to watch out. Yeah, I knew he. See, when he wrote those words, that's because he's really thinking of how he's going to get me in the future. If you're talking about it as you're going through it, you have the ability to build up more trust, which means what? In terms of doing business with people.
more efficiency, more sales, more money.
People are going to want to do business with you more, right? Because they trust you. So collaboration is a key thing. And can you collaborate with your own people?
Sure.
Yeah. You could be collaborating. In fact, probably, I think it's tomorrow, we'll be doing a document, we'll be collaborating in here. Where it's, okay, we have an assignment. Who's done that assignment here? Okay, we got this assignment. You have to do this part. He does that part. This person does that part. And we get it done. So that's on Docs. Sheets is like Excel. But again, it's collaborative. How did you come up with that number? No, I don't agree that it should be 15%. Let's make it 20%. You can collaborate and you can look at things get much better. And because you're doing it with somebody back and forth, you're telling your brain, without specifically saying, brain, this is important, you're telling your brain this is important. You know it more. Now, forms. So the other crucial thing when coming up with these programs, these cloud programs, is Docs and Sheets were copies of Word. And today, if you do a Word file, can I open it in Docs? Yeah, totally transparent. I can open it in Docs, and I can save it back as a Word file because you're back in the Stone Age. You don't have Docs. You don't know how to use Docs. So I can just save it as a Word file for you. So this was Docs is Word. This is Excel. This is PowerPoint.
That's Access.
It's what Access wishes it was, but it is a database. And we'll be doing this on, I don't know if it's Thursday, but one day this week. We're also going to be doing, no, I think next week we do forms. We spend a whole week doing forms. So forms is a database, but it looks like what? Who's here's worked on forms? I know, Marty, you're making calls. You're using forms, right? Yeah. Okay. What does it look like on your screen? Yeah, it looks like a virtual form. And have you created forms?
Yeah.
Okay. Are they easy to create? Yeah. So forms is a database function. And let me go here. Share my screen. We'll go to. So I went from Google Hangout on Air to here. Let's go to last Friday. We'll go to our 8 o'clock quiz. There's a file that's attached here. Copy that. Dennis, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is our Friday quiz. Okay, the TED Talk quiz. So this looks like a form, right? Right. It's an electronic form. Just questions and answers, and then we have this question here, which is an essay. It says create a document, share it, paste the link, etc. But what is it really? It's really a spreadsheet. So what this is, it's a spreadsheet that is a database. And what's the big difference? What's the point of a spreadsheet as a database? What can you do?
You can plug in different formulas to get different answers.
Well, so the other people that fill out the form, they plug in the different answers, right? But you can manipulate the data. You can sort it by whatever the fields are. So this is taking a little bit of time to taking a little bit of time to load, so I'm just going to ignore that. But so forms is Google's database, and where access is very difficult. If anybody's using access in here, you don't want to do it. It's really a lot of work to do things. In Google, what they do is you just design a form. Just ask the questions, make it look pretty. You can put pictures in there. You can add videos in there. You can do whatever you want. Oh, it's break time. Okay, we're going to wrap it up because we've gone 5 minutes over. We'll pick this up tomorrow. And are there any questions in California about what we've talked about so far?
You want one? You want a question? Okay, about 4